Hey guys, I just did a killer podcast on how you can save 10 hours every single week and become an absolute productivity machine. So strap yourself in. It's another bumper episode. Really appreciate you guys. Hope you get some value from this one. Alrighty guys, today we're going to cover all things time management. The really big outcome I want you to have from this podcast is really clear guidelines on how you can save time in your diary each week and also where you should be spending your time. And look, this is like really, really important to me because a couple of years ago with my beautiful fiance, we actually nearly broke up. I was crazily overworking, and it wasn't until some stages, like some things like that happen in your life where you kind of realize and deeply think of, is this money worth it? Is it worth working 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. when, you're not spending time with your family and your loved ones and, things aren't going amazingly at home? So, I want to really get some clarity for you guys on how you build your business consistently and how you manage and check your time each week and each month, so you don't get in that, rat race and, where you're following like that bullshit Grant Cardone and Gary Vee where they work crazy hours, because hats off to them. I get great inspiration and great motivation from those guys, but there's no fucking chance in the world I would want to work that much, because I love actually having a good life. And a business, guys, should give you an amazing lifestyle, not just something where you've got to work 7 days a week. Leave that to those guys. They can go have their $400 million companies. Let's just have gyms that, give us a really great income and salary that we get. Give us 20 to 30K profit a month and we fucking live life on our terms. So if you're with me on that, strap yourself in. I'm going to cover a couple of things that, really help me along the way. So first of all, guys, and I know it's like kind of cliche, but it's knowing your vision and your why. Why you're doing things, making sure your friends and your family and your partners like all buy in on that stuff. Because there is some days where, work gets really, really tough, and there's a lot of like discipline and, consistency things that I'm going to share with you today, where if you don't have like a clear vision and what you want your life to look like and how you want to spend time with your kids and your wife and things like that, it can all come crumbling down very quickly. So I'm doing this again. I've started coaching again with my friend James, who's like a health mindset coach, does jack of all trades. And I've started to focus heavily on where I see myself in 5 years, which has kind of reverted me back to focusing a lot of this time stuff. And it's also very relevant with a lot of our clients in the inner circle at the moment, because their business is growing so quickly and they're just incredibly busy. So we need to start to make sure we do these tasks consistently, but make sure you know why you're doing, what your vision is, what you want your life to look like. Map out what your perfect work week looks like. For me at the moment, it's 9 to 5. When I was back growing the gyms, it was different. And your work hours and works week will change as you have kids and family and things like that. So make sure you're always reviewing it and you're living life on your terms, as I think Tony Robbins would say, but I'm sure a million other people like myself have kind of ripped it off. But I want you to live life on your terms. So guys, let's start first of all with planning your weeks, right? We run a thing in our program called Creating an Extra Workday, where essentially we're getting you to plan your weeks out a month in advance, right? And it's not planning what you need to do every day just yet, but it's planning in your time blocks. And this is something I learned off a guy named Craig Ballantyne, because, I'm kind of self-development junkie. So when me and my missus were, having issues, I firstly fix that up, work less, but then I'm like, how do I make sure this never happens again? So I've studied with a ton of time management, discipline kind of people, vision to really help with this. But plan your week. And what I want you to plan with first is the time that you're spending with your family and your loved ones. So that would be, date night. We have a thing in our family called church where we have dinner together every weekend. It could be, anything you want to do with your family, but that's locked in before anything else, right? Picking up your kids from school, whatever it is for you. Then I want you to book in your times for your friends and your social connections, which is really important, right? You might have, regular where you play tennis with someone once a fortnight or whatever it is for you. A lot of my friends we used to play AFL. They have boys night, which is on a Saturday after footy. but make sure that's all planned in. Whenever your friends and family time, anything you want to do consistently is locked in before we're even thinking about work. Then, of course, guys, you've got to have your fitness in. If we don't have our health, we have nothing. So that will include your training times, your, food prep if you do that, whatever it is. All your health and fitness stuff is all dialed in. Then once you've got that dialed in, you want to first lock in your regular meetings, okay? So that would be like regular team meetings on a Monday, which is a podcast previously on that stuff, right? Could be your sales calls. It could be when you're running sessions, but that's all kind of locked in your diary. So now we're kind of working with a relatively blank slate on, you've got all your important things locked in and you've got all your recurring work tasks booked in. So some of those, when I was like managing the gym and growing it, I had my sessions in the morning. Then I'd lock in, I'll do sales calls from 8:30 to 9:30 a.m. kind of every day. I'll do them at lunchtime as well. I'd have time for consults. You have my one-on-one meetings with the trainers I'll do, and that was kind of all locked in. And then once you've planned your weeks in advance for what it looks like over the next month or 6 weeks, is then like on a Friday. I prefer to plan my weeks on a Friday now over a Sunday, because I want to have like a full day of no work. Find what works for you guys. What works for me in this video and podcast might not necessarily work for you, but you've got to try it to find out. But then you want to plan your weeks, and you're already going to know your flows. So you might look at your workflows and go, hey, Monday's a really big meeting day. I've got the classes, I've got the consults, and you just know that you can't take much on within that day, like much other, tasks and things like that. Then you plan out, I'm going to give you like a beginner and an advanced. So kind of beginner ways to plan your days is to create 3 things that you want to do every day to drive your business forward. Really, really big tasks that really push the needle. That's a beginner level. If you want to go advanced, like Andy Frizella, absolutely love his podcast called the MFCEO. I recommend listening to every episode. Listen to every episode of this one, then Andy Frizella's. They're probably the 2, best podcasts on the internet at the moment. But he has his power list. It is one of the best podcasts you'll ever listen to. Google it. I'm sure it'll pop up. But he has 5 critical tasks every day. Guys, when in my coaching programs, let's start with 3 first, 3 critical things, and then go to 5. But guys, once you get advanced and you start doing 5 critical things to grow your business, you'll get absolutely amazing results. But I like people to start off small. Let's get those 3 done over the next 6 weeks and then go to 5. Right? Rather than just going crazy beast mode at the start when you're just kind of on this journey of managing your time better and getting really amazing results consistently within your business. And guys, the next 3 are like a little bit different, because it's more so about like reviewing and knowing exactly where you're at. And, when you're planning your days, right? So every evening you want to plan your day for the next day. And in our program, we have a high performers diary that we give everyone, where you can map your days in 30-minute blocks. And that's where really getting the most from your days is, and having really abundant energy and getting these 3 tasks or these 5 tasks done every day. So you've got it mapped in. But when you've planned your day, guys, this is where most people fall down, is they don't actually review it. So, that 8:30 time slot, 8:30 to 9:30, where you're meant to be doing sales calls, but you were, you went for coffee with a trainer and didn't get those done. Not saying going for coffee with that trainer is wrong or right, but you need to review whether you actually implemented what you planned to do that day. And this is where you become incredibly, incredibly smart, because you learn your flows and you learn where you waste time on social media or spend too much time on your emails, or, that trainer is always the one coming to you and they're eating up 30, 45 minutes of your day. And I'll kind of give you a bit of a pre-frame on this, because I've done this for a very long time now. And you guys will probably know, if you know me well, I'm very good friends with Andrew Ghost and also my friend Dan Henderson. And when I was reviewing my diary, I realized there were some days I talked to those guys for an hour and a half every single day. And I love them, right? I absolutely love chatting to them. But now I'm in a phase of like growing my business where I'm like, guys, let's have some like set times where we chat each week. And it's not just like an hour and a half of chatting every single day. And it was actually me calling them and we're just kind of chatting and talking about things. But that's where I realized that I was like losing a lot of time each day from these unnecessary phone calls. And unless I was reviewing my day and tracking what I planned to do and what I actually did, I would have never picked that up, because I really enjoy chatting to them. And it's something I still do every week, but just not like losing those big time chunks of time. So that's why you've got to review your day. So every day at the end of the day, you go, hey, this is what I had planned at 12 p.m. and this is what I actually did. And you'll start to learn amazing things about your time management and save a ton of time, because you'll essentially stop wasting time and you'll stay on track as well. Now, the next two, guys, is just a monthly review process, okay? And I think I learned this off Brian Tracy, but I've done so much study on this stuff, it kind of gets diluted, right? So I could be wrong, but this one is really, really powerful. And this is like a monthly review. So at the end of the month, you'll have a look over your diary, have a look at all your planning, all the days you did, and then we want to run through this process. What do you need to stop doing in your diary that's not benefiting your business and not growing you forward? What do you need to start doing, right? Is there anything you've learned over the last month that you need to implement and you need to start doing so you think that will drive the needle forward? What do you need to do more of, right? What is in your diary and in your time tracker? That's why this time tracker is so important. What do you need to do more of that actually got you the best results in your business this month? And what do you need to do less of, right? Because you might have allotted time or allotted certain things in your power list, those critical tasks you're doing every day that you're like, hey, this actually didn't get the results that I get. How can I spend less time on this? And that's going to free you up a ton of time and keep you super focused. But we're not done, okay? Because everyone listening to this podcast, you want to be a animal in business. So I'm going to teach you the next level. And if you do this, you will absolutely crush everyone and have an amazing time management system and an amazing business just from doing these couple of things. Then we're going to have a look at your diary and go, what can you automate? What are those things that maybe a system like ACR can do? Or, automations are crazy with Zapier and some of the things you can learn, but what are some of the manual things that you can just get done that's just automated? Bang, 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 so you never have to do it again. That's going to save you hours and hours and hours of time every single month, and it lasts forever with automations. That's a good thing. Maybe apart from if your zaps turn off for whatever reason, but let's not go into that. All right. The next one is, what do you need to systemize? What do you need to systemize onto your team's checklist, right? And there's often things that you're doing that are taking a little bit of extra time, maybe those email replies, whatever it might be. But what can you turn into a system so that then you can do it faster? And again, once things are systemized, you can often automate it, right? And you have to be reviewing your time journal when you're doing your diary every day to do this super effectively. Then we want to look at what can you outsource, right? Is there anything, maybe, at the moment, for example, you're spending 45 minutes a day on your Facebook ads, right? And you go, hey, maybe I can outsource that to an agency where they just, look after it for me. Or maybe you're doing like other tasks that you can, outsource, like it might be sales or it might be training sessions, like whatever it might be. It's all different in our own journey. But there will be things that you can outsource to get back time, because in business, we've got two main things. You've got money and time. The more you work, right, doesn't mean the more money you make, but when you're earning more money, you can buy back time. So when you're earning a ton of money, you can have people who look after sales. You can have that digital agency if you don't own your ads. You can hire those VAs. You can have those CRMs and amazing automation systems, right? And you're always balancing this thing of time versus money, right? And you need to know how much you need to earn per month, right? And what makes you happy. And then you're always balancing that equation. And that's what all business owners are constantly doing, right? We do 1,000 things every day, but those are the two big things of how does this time versus money equation kind of look? Am I willing to buy back more time, which is CRM, staff, and things like that? And the last one you want to look at is delegate. What can you delegate? What are you doing that you can give to your team? What can you do that maybe you can give to your VAs or the trainers you have, or, someone else in your team? And doing this task every month, automate, systemize, outsource, delegate, is going to get your business absolutely humming. Especially, guys, I love the automate and the systemize and the delegate, because I don't think anyone in the world ever really uses their team to 100% of the capacity. And if you're reviewing your diary, like I mentioned, I'm going to keep drilling it in on this podcast, keep saying it, because only by reviewing and writing down what you're doing can you actually get any of this shit done. So that's like literally the most important part of everything, is let's track what you're doing every 30 minutes so we can create you some time and get you doing the things you love and the things that really drive your business forward. And guys, the final one is just to be wary of is making sure you're cutting all meetings down and that each one has a point. Okay. So I hate meeting up with people for a chat, right? In work hours. I have friends, I have family for that stuff, right? And you're the same. People will want to meet up with you just for random different shit when you own a business, right? Every meeting must have a point and must have an outcome for it. And then make sure you cut your meeting times down. Your team meetings are sacred. Do not cut those down. But if someone wants to meet up with you for 30 minutes to chat over coffee, go, cool, let's do it in 15. Keep it short and keep it to the point so you're not spending massive hours in meetings every single week. And what you want to track, so the most important meetings in business are your team meetings. And if you're doing sales, obviously those sales consultations, which are like a meeting. But I want you to track every other meeting that you do outside of that and write down, is it worthwhile or not? Can I cut 15 minutes of it? Would I have that meeting again if I could choose, right? If you had a meeting 2 weeks ago with someone, if you could choose. And that's where it got to a stage. And I know everyone on here has probably been hit up by someone with isogenics, right? And I was kind of in this phase a couple of years ago, and people in the isogenics phase, it really kicked off in Australia like 2 years ago, where like literally people were like reaching out and yeah, hey, can we have a coffee? And because like every reason was like win my meetings, I was like, cool, like what do you want to catch up about exactly? And they're like, oh, just catch up for a chat. And I was like, oh man, I'll see you at footy, or we'll just catch up here. It's all good. Then you would actually get out the reason that's like, oh, hey, I've got this new exciting business product, isogenics, that saved me tons of meeting times. So I actually never personally met anyone face-to-face about isogenics, which I think is fucking amazing, because I'm sure pretty much everyone listening has nearly had a meeting with those guys and they mask it as like, let's catch up for a coffee, right? So let's just review everything here really, really quickly. So firstly, guys, we want to save you 10 hours per week, keep you in flow of doing the things that drive your business forward. And here's how we do it. You need to know your vision and your why. Why do you get up every day, right? What do you want your life to look like in 3 years? What do you want your perfect days to look like? How many hours do you want to work? You know, when do you want to start work? When do you want to finish work? You have to have that mapped out before you do anything. And know that it's going to change. Your vision won't change, or it shouldn't be changing super quickly. But what you consider a perfect day will change. Say here, I've got my perfect day at the moment. Just say if my fiance gets pregnant, right, and we have a kid in 9 months, it's going to change. Or maybe a sporting season has changed, or it's going to change. So just be adaptable on what your perfect day and week looks like. The next one is you're going to plan your week. You're going to put in your family time. You're going to put in your friends' time. You're going to put in your fitness and your regular work meetings, like meeting your team, sales calls and things like that, into your diary. So you know your weekly flow, you know your busy days, you know your quieter days. So then you can lead in, and when you're planning your days each afternoon, you're going to start off by planning 3 big things that's going to drive your business forward. And then you can go advance to the 5 things that can drive your business forward. And just remember to listen to Andy Frizella's podcast on the Power List, which is the second best podcast on the internet after this one. Then every day, what I want you to do is make sure you review your days. Okay. That what you had planned between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. today, did you actually get it fucking done? What got in your way? What stopped you? What distracted you? Or did you nail it 100%? And it's either red or green. You either did it or you didn't, right? So you'll map it red, go, I didn't do it because I got distracted. I did this. And that's okay. You're not here to beat yourself up. You're here to learn, guys. You're here to learn what your flows are, where you're wasting time, where you're getting distracted, those certain people that are like setting you off course of having your perfect days. You need to know this. And by reviewing it, you will learn so much about your days. And then every month, this task takes you about 45 minutes to an hour. So the first one, you're going to review your diary. What do you need to stop doing? What do you need to start doing? Something you've learned you needed to implement. What do you need to do more of to drive your business forward? And what do you need to do less of? What's not giving you that big ROI at the moment? That's having a big look over your last calendar month. The next one you're going to look at in your business is what can you automate with systems like ACR and Zapier and, you know, all these cool fancy things that are out there at the moment. It's really the best time in the world to live with everything we have, and, you know, everything's one click away. What do you need to systemize in your business, right? What are you doing consistently that maybe if you added in a couple of systems and basic email replies and things like that would just save you a ton of time? The next one is what can you outsource, right? Maybe it's your ads, maybe it's, you know, the graphics, maybe it's posting on social media, but there's a ton of things that you can outsource that you're currently doing to save you a ton of time. And then what can you delegate, right? What are you currently doing that someone in your team can do as good or better than you with the right training? right? And that's going to save you a ton of time every single month. And the last one, guys, is cut down your meetings. With your team meetings, they are sacred. With the team that are working your business, don't cut those down. Just make sure if you're meeting for an hour, it's worthwhile for everyone. Maybe cut it to 45 minutes if they're dragging out and they're a bit, fluffy. But every other meeting should have a justification. What is the person wanting to meet you for, or what are you wanting to meet them for? What's the outcome of that meeting? How can you turn a 45-minute meeting into a 30-minute meeting? How you can turn a 30-minute meeting into a 15? How can you turn those 15-minute meetings that are absolutely fucking pointless maybe into a quick 2-minute phone call, or where you catch up a different time, or maybe you just don't even catch up with them? Because some of the most ruthless people I've ever met with their time management, and I won't say who they were, but they won't even take calls off numbers they don't know. They won't take any meetings in work hours and things like that. And these guys are running 7-8-figure businesses because they protect their time with absolutely everything. And I kind of said that story. It's if someone wants to meet you, and I use the isogenics thing, what's the meeting? Oh, cool. Got it. What do you want to cover? What do you want the outcome to be? Oh, hey, I'm never fucking doing isogenics. I'll just save you the time. Let's cancel that one. Right? So you've got to kind of be a bit firm on this, on why people meet, what the outcome is, in a friendly way, to let them know, to go, hey, that's not going to happen. Or yeah, 100%, right? Let's meet up. That's going to be really good. Because you've got to protect your time, because otherwise these people suck into your time, right, with these unneeded meetings, and you don't get to spend time with your friends, family, and loved ones. That's actually what makes you truly happy, not those pointless little meetings that pop up in our diaries all the time. Guys, thank you so much for listening, maybe watching. I hope you got a little bit of value from this. If you have any questions, please reach out to me anytime. Gym Growth with Jimmy Pompone is probably the best place. It's our free group.